You're welcome.
And a lot of you are muted.
This is a good thing.
Aye.
All right, we have a ton of photographs today. Although I think it sorted itself out a bit. It looked like we had a heck of a lot at one stage. So yeah, what's on the agenda, Bill? I haven't got. I changed my office. Now I have to turn around to look at my other machine, which doesn't work very well on Zooms.
Well, we really, the only thing that we have is, we have nobody new. So we go right into probably tips and tricks, which what we're calling it this time is before the first shot. And Graham, if you'll give me the.
Oh, you have stuff to do, huh?
I figured what I'd do is I'd put a little list together, and if people are interested in it, I'll just send it out with the notes.
Now I have to remember how to do this. Here we go. Bill 12. No. Bill Coppleton. There he is. Make co-host. All right, you got it, Bill.
Okay, just let me know if it actually showed up.
Yep, I see it.
Okay. Some of us out here are pilots, and one thing that's required every time we take a plane up, we have to do a walk around. We have to check certain things. And I thought it'd be maybe interesting to apply that to us going out and preparing ourselves to go out and take some photographs. And some of this came up, and Bob, I'm going to be bad.
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay. It's okay. Is that Bob and I went out the other day up at Duke Gardens, and he didn't realize that his autofocus was turned off. So he had manual focus. And it's just probably a matter of maybe going through a little checklist or getting familiar enough with your camera that you do certain things before you go out. So what I tried to do is just put together a little list here of things that maybe we go through our heads before we even leave, so that when you're out there taking images, is that you don't have a lot to think about because everything is pretty much under control. But I have to tell you too, is that while I was doing this list, I found that I did two things during the day that I put on the list. I actually downloaded some pictures off of my SD card, and I left the SD card in my computer and didn't put it back into the camera. So, that's
Bill, it's unimaginable to me that a person can leave a memory card at home. It's just impossible.
Yeah,
And it's an inside joke because Bill and I went out on a little walking trip one day, and I couldn't figure out why in the heck I couldn't take a picture with my camera, at least the one that's a digital, and it was because I didn't have a memory card in it. So
after I downloaded those images, what I also realized when I was going through it, I had taken the images on a tripod, but I forgot to shut off the vibration reduction. So yeah, it's no matter how much you think that you're out there and you're ready for it, you sometimes have to just take an extra 10 seconds to make sure you go through everything. So what I did is I just created this little list. We may have more things to add on to it as we go through this, but one of the big things is your lens clean and ready to go. This is even before you leave the house. And what I put here is that There's little things like these rocket hand blowers. All you do is squeeze it and the air comes flying out. Yeah, and all you have to do is get as much dust off as you can. If you look at it and you see there's still dust in there that the rocket won't take off, maybe then you go to a lens brush. These are often made out of camel hair, where you can just take the loose dust and get it off. So that's the second touch.
How many camels died to make that brush?
Yeah, I bet that happened. And the third is if you're looking at it and you see that there's smudge from your hands and things like that, the next step is you may have to go to liquid. So, you may have something like a little lens cleaning and you get a microfiber little towel here. But when you have to go to this point, remember one thing, don't spray it on your lens and then wipe it. The best is to spray the lens cleaner onto the microfiber towel and then slowly and evenly rub it on over your lens. And you should, after that, your frontal lens should be in pretty good shape. And when it comes to actually touching the lens, probably the best thing is try not to do it too much. Don't become so obsessive that you clean your lens every time you go out. And that's because they do have coatings on it and you just don't want to wear any of that. Also, if you change your lens enough, what you may have to do is actually check the backside of your lens. That you attach to the camera. You can get dust in there as well. And again, even further in is the sensor, but we're not going to go talk about cleaning the sensor. So your lens is in good shape. Next is your body of the camera.
Before you go on, the last point, not using compressed air is
That's
a big one.
mhm.
And the rocket blower is the only kind of air you ought to put on the lens or the sensor for that matter. And one of the benefits of the rocket blower, if you don't have one, is that it does not suck up air from the environment and to shoot it out without filtering it. So you're not likely to pick up dirt and then spray it onto your lens. At least that's my understanding of the way the rocket blower works. And the last thing is, and I'm not going to get into a debate with anybody about putting clear or as clear as you can get filters on a camera, because you can clean the heck out of a $50 filter and throw it away if you ruin it and get a new one. You can't do that to a $2,000 lens if you're working on the front element itself. So.
Okay. Now we flip over to the camera body. Is number one, before you leave the house, is your battery charged? I don't know if anybody's had that great opportunity of forgetting to check it, forgetting maybe to charge it up before you leave the house. Second one is Michael's famous one, which is, do you have your memory card in the camera? It's probably a good reason to have extra memory cards in your camera bag as well, but I have one memory card. Yeah, and it better be in there. And then next is to get your camera in the shooting mode that you're going to be going out to do. Are you going to be shooting maybe landscapes, or are you going to be shooting something that has motion to it? You can prepare yourself by either going to aperture priority or going to shutter priority, in advance, because all of a sudden something pops up and you want to take a picture of it and you might not be ready for it. So the less you have to think about, the better off and the faster you'll be able to react. Also, when it comes to manual shooting, And this gets sometimes confusing to some folks, but the word manual probably gets used interchangeably twice in our camera, but they mean two very different things. You have manual, which allows you to set the exposure triangle, meaning your aperture, your shutter speed, and your ISO. And then the other time you hear the word manual is the autofocus, and they are not attached to each other. So if you think that you're turning your camera onto manual, you still have to understand that if you want your autofocus to be on, you leave it on, or you can shut it off. In a case of, like with a Nikon, you have switches on the camera that allow you to shut off just the autofocus. And it's also available on the camera body itself. And what's important is when you do decide to maybe manually focus yourself, and if you normally allow it to autofocus, switch it back. I've done that before where all of a sudden I'm out there and the pictures aren't looking right, and all of a sudden you're starting to look over all the different possibilities. You know, you just got to remember when you make an adjustment to make sure you put it back so it just doesn't become a confusing issue later. Ensure that your ISO is set up, or if it's on automatic. Because if you're outside taking landscapes, you know, if you have a camera that goes down to 100 ISO or 64, and that's what you want to shoot at, you know, maybe the last time you're out, it was cloudy and you used it at 400 or 800. So before you get out in the conditions today, just make sure you take a peek at that and have it set in advance. Ensure your exposure compensation is set to 0. If you're a person that tends to use this function on a camera, it's very easy to forget it, you know, and not put it back to 0. And what that exposure compensation is if you take an image and you look at the back of your camera and you say, yeah, that looks a little dark, you can make an adjustment on your camera to lighten it up, and you can take another picture, but you have to remember to put it back. Ensure the focus point lock is on off. This was something else that we came across with Bob while we were walking through the Duke Gardens the other day. I don't know if it does it on Canons or so, but on the back of the camera, there's a little switch, and you can lock your focus point to a certain position. And Bob and I were trying to adjust it, and it wouldn't adjust. You know, couldn't figure out what it was. And then all of a sudden looked on back of the camera and it was locked. I'm not sure why people would even have that function on the camera, but it does. And these kind of little switches like that can just get flipped as you're pulling it in and out of a camera bag. So, you know, you just got to kind of pay attention to that. Ensure your photo and the video switches in the photo. Again, on the back of the Nikons, you know, there's a little switch down here that says, are you taking photographs or are you taking the video? Again, pull it in and out of a bag. Something like that can get switched by mistake. Next one, vibration reduction. This is what I talked about, what I did. For walking around, your vibration reduction or your IS is always on. But when you put it on a tripod, you want to turn it off, which I didn't do. And what happens with that is when you have your vibration reduction on and it's on a tripod, it may still try to adjust your focus for vibration, or in this case, a lack of vibration. And it can actually give you a blurred image. Shutter control. make sure that, are you out there just taking pictures like with single, every time you push the shutter button, you're going to get one picture. If you have it on continuous, you hold it down and it's going to take multiple images. So, have it set up for what you need for that particular day. And I have there marked on there self-timer too. This is a mistake that I've made a few times. The last time I used my camera, I used a self-timer because I was maybe taking nighttime shots and I didn't put it back to single or to continuous. So you're sitting there, standing there, getting ready to take a picture. You push that shutter button and nothing happens. And then about 2 seconds later, it takes the picture. So, again, just something that you can put on a checklist to make sure that you have everything set while you're going. Focus point settings. Are you on single or continuous? When you go out and do images based on maybe landscapes or so, you're going to have it on single. If you're going to do something with a lot of motion where you want your focus point to continually adjust, then you want to make sure it's on continuous. I had mine on continuous, and I was always wondering why, like, I wanted to do what they call a focus and compose, where you kind of focus on an image, but you want it somewhere else in your composition. So you push the button halfway down, you focus, and you move it, and then you take the picture. Well, this thing just kept adjusting. And it was, again, because I wasn't paying attention to that particular setting. And then when it comes down to the camera bag, have it organized. Just don't have stuff piled in there. Know where you put your filters, your extra batteries if you have them, and so just be familiar with it. And extra batteries, if you do carry them, just make sure they're charged. It's just like you get a flat tire someplace and you go in a trunk and you have a flat spare. So just think of it as that you got to be prepared. And all this really kind of dovetails into the fact that you need to understand your camera. With some of the cameras that we have, there can be a lot to know about them, but you have to know about them. And once you do know about them, you have to make sure it's set up and ready to go when you're going to get out there and take some images. Any other things on the list that people have maybe had some issues with in the past where you kind of just forget about them, or?
Bill, this is a good list. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your help. Can you send this as an email so we can print it out?
Yep.
That'd be great.
I figured, and I printed it out for myself now because I've been making these mistakes. And there's nothing worse than trying to solve a problem while you're trying to take a picture.
I walked 20 minutes one day before I realized I didn't have my memory card. And I now have a spare memory card in my camera bag.
Well, what I do every time now is when I go to download it and I open up the side and I take the card out, I leave it open. I lay it down, I leave it open. So theoretically, I can't forget. And the same thing goes for the battery too. I've already had a battery and a charger on the wall, picked up the camera and walked out and no battery. So that stays open as well.
Hey, Bill, it's Mark.
Yep.
In regards to, you made a comment earlier about switches on your camera and on your lens. I just got back from 2 weeks in Yellowstone shooting a lot of wildlife, and I was using my new 150-600, and damn, for the life of me, I couldn't get it to focus no matter what the hell I did. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just go to manual focus, which is what I did, which is even more difficult. And then I realized I have underneath the lens, I have three switches, one regular, one was 2 meters to 10 meters, and the other was 10 meters to infinity. And I had it set on 2 meters to 10 meters, which is like a close-up.
Right.
So, and I didn't realize that till maybe 8 days into my trip. So very good point when you say, check all your switches, because sometimes, you know, you just forget it. If it gets in my bag, it got switched down to the lower setting and I didn't even realize it.
Yep.
I had that problem too once, Mark, and I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. And it really screws up every close.
I know.
Another thing that I was reminded this morning, because our dog walker, who wanders all over Farrington with his camera and then the dogs, was mumbling around about he'd lost the cover, for his lens. And I said, well, you don't have a second one with you? And he said, no, I only got one and left the other at home. And so I was thinking, that's one thing I always do stick in my camera bag is extra lens covers, just in case one falls down someplace I can't get it. Or
and by the way, that's a great point, Betty. They're cheap. I just bought 2 for my lens. They were like $9.99 on Amazon.
Yeah.
With the strap.
Yeah.
They don't say Tamron, but who cares?
It doesn't matter, just something to cover it up so you're not stuck.
One thing that I find very helpful, because I've made all the above mistakes, is as I go out the door, turn on the camera and just point at anything. Don't even have to shoot, but if I turn on the camera and point and go to focus, if there's no card in the camera or there's no battery, it's going to come up and tell me that. Yeah, so that I found pretty helpful.
And just like you said, Mike, most of us have probably done all of these. And what we have to do is prevent them from happening again, because we're not getting any younger.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question. When I take my lens cap off, I was wondering what's a good bag to put the lens cap in so it doesn't get dirty. I mean, sometimes I leave it in the house, but I thought it's actually better to carry it with me in some kind of little bag. So when you take your lens cap off, what do you store it in?
My pocket.
My pocket.
I have some clips that, especially for my heavier camera, and I can clip it on, just have clips that fit onto the harness that I use for my camera. And that works pretty well too, if you've got something to clip it onto. But otherwise, yeah, I use my pocket.
Hey, Scooter, shut up.
So,
Actually, that's a good thing. I carry more than one because you sometimes forget where you put it.
Well, if you carry it in your pocket, that's one place where you don't need a rocket blower. If you carry it in your pocket, take it out and blow on it before you put it back on your camera.
Well, you should have a strap on the lens cover, a little strap that attaches to the lens, right?
I
No.
don't have one on mine.
No.
No,
I do.
long
Yeah.
gone.
I don't want anything hanging from my lens.
Cool.
All righty.
Thank you, Bill. So, President Herbert, do we have to kneel in your presence now?
Sure. Well, it's not official. That'll be tonight.
Oh, it's tonight. Of course, it's tonight. Okay. So, for
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, Mark is running for president, unopposed, I believe, of Chapel Hill Camera Club.
Right. Thank you.
He doesn't think we're good enough for him anymore, so he's off to new climbs, huh?
No, it's not. No, that's not the case at all. The case is nobody would do it. And they actually faced having to, according to their 501c charter, without a slate of officers, they would have to dissolve. So
desperation was the answer then, Mark.
I got arm twisted. How about that?
Well, good for you.
No,
Good for
the
you.
other 5 people took a step back.
The other 45 people took a step back.
Good for you. All right, let's see. Am I properly set up here? I'm sort of behind the curve. It's been a
While you're doing that, is anybody shooting the Dacroid meteor shower? Did anybody shoot that? Anybody know about it? Guess not.
No.
well. It crops up on my calendar. I see that it's due.
Yeah.
As was the space launch yesterday. Mr. Blotz is the space expert here. Come on, Mike. What's happening?
I don't claim to be a space expert. I just work with rocket scientists. I'm not one.
You played one on television, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
So Mike, what you're saying, it's not rocket science?
Oh, it is rocket science. Rocket science is rocket science.
Okay.
Oh,
It just told me participants can now see your application. It's never done that before, I don't think. So I assume, participants, that you can see what's going on.
that one's mine.
Okay.
From the dam, Betty, from the dam. And actually, just a quick interesting story. This is from several months ago. A week ago, I started having eye problems where all straight lines start going wavy and everything like that. And they found out it's macular degeneration. So now I have to have treatment for that. But meanwhile, of all the challenges we had this week, it's geometric. And so it was totally impossible to go ahead with, it just ground all photo processing and all taking pictures to a halt for geometric things. So this is the one I've just picked that I had from before.
I like it.
Nice, Betty. I do too.
For those of you that don't know, that is part of a generator that can generate enough electricity to provide for a number of houses. Good shot.
Betty, why didn't you crop out that stuff down there at the very bottom?
Actually, Tom, I did because it looked annoying to me. And then for some reason, the balance of the whole thing changed and I put it back in. I don't know how it looks like on your screen, but actually, I think my screen is over bright or something because I have a much brighter picture when I'm photo processing this than what I have here. It's kind of dull gray looking and it needed something in that corner to kind of balance it out.
Also, you would have cut out the reflection of the spiral
Right.
staircase, which is a knockout.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
I really like how you left the natural environment in there to contrast with the geometric environment. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Betty, I can
Anyway,
really see what you mean
stairways.
about I can really see what you mean about the balance, because I think that the bottom flotsam and jetsam balances out the trees very nicely. It sort of frames the geometry of what's there to draw your eye into it.
Yeah, I think this is a nice example of thirds as well. And I like what you just said about the depth, because as your eyes travel up the stairway, you see the woods behind it, and then way off in the distance, you see the trees in the background. This is a very nice composed shot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And the
And good luck
lines
with
are
macular
vertical.
degeneration.
Oh, and that one's mine too.
That's beautiful.
I thought that was Michael's hair follicles.
Yeah.
Too many of them if you're talking about me.
Beautiful.
I just find the ferns, this time of here in Briar Chapel,
Mm.
all the different stages of the ferns as they unwind or whatever. Fascinating. So
Nice.
Is that a macro lens or just a, what
no,
lens?
no, I think actually I'm sure this is just my iPhone, you know.
Good picture.
Eddie, one of the things I think I would try is to crop it to a vertical, to a portrait, and just take the fern, the fiddleback part, if that's what that is.
You mean just the curling part, the end? That
Yeah,
part?
yeah.
Yeah, you know, actually, it started out as you see the stalk on the left and then the curl on the right. It actually is a whole big loop that I cut off at the top, trying to find, you know, some kind of. I really wanted to keep the whole set of the loop, and maybe in a vertical thing, I could have done that, and it just didn't occur to me, or maybe I didn't have enough to make it in a vertical.
I think there's enough in this shot to do a vertical. I think the only
Yeah.
thing it might require is that second stalk that's on the left. The leaf part of that is out of focus, and you could just blur or de-sharpen, unsharpen the part of it that is in focus so that it all becomes bokeh.
Oh, okay. Okay, good idea.
It's a lot of nice detail. Very beautiful shot.
Yeah, really good.
I love the color.
Mhm.
Very, very sharp.
I was wondering what it looked like black and white.
Yeah,
Yep.
I liked when I was playing around with it, you know, it just looked like your ordinary green stuff on the path. And I kind of like to take all the color out pretty much and then using a separate control for the green, just bringing a little green back into it. I liked that. Yeah.
Nicely seen.
Okay.
Hey.
Thanks for the comments.
Oh, my.
That's mine. If you'd flip it 90 degrees, rotate it 90 degrees to the left, I decided that's how I like it. Yeah, I think it looks better that way.
That looks like my back and my spine and my back.
That's what I'm wondering.
You have my sympathy. What it was, I shot this a while ago on the Creekwood Trail. I saw a fallen branch next to the trail that was covered in a yellow fungus.
Mm.
And I just had my iPhone, so I took a shot with the iPhone and was going to come back the next day with a better camera to get a better shot. And when I went back the next day, it was gone. But I took the photo and then I masked out the branch in all the background, just leaving the fungus. And I know it's not really a standard geometric shape, but it has some interesting geometric qualities to me. And plus, when I didn't like the lighting on the other photo I took of a thin slice of lemon stuck to a window. And I just, yesterday I didn't have very good brightness, very good light, natural light. So, but I thought this would be something.
Yeah, I like it.
Unusual.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, that one's mine. When it comes to the geometric here, the leaves that are coming off from the left, coming in toward the flowers there, they're kind of shaped as triangles. The cactus that's there are all circles. And then what I really kind of like about it is that all the spinies on it just kind of give you this feeling of some kind of symmetry as well. So it kind of embodied a number of different geometrics into this one image. I had to do quite a bit of vignetting because a lot of the edges weren't very good looking at all. So, but that's my geometric.
It works well.
Beautiful.
I like
Very
it.
pretty.
Really beautiful.
My only comment would be to pull those weeds out, those two little weeds in the.
Mhm.
Yes, I probably could have done that. And, this little old lady on her little cart would have caught me.
Oh,
That's right.
You can outrun her. She's got a cart. So
Hey, Bill, I think this is a fabulous shot. I just turned this thing in horizontal to where the leaves are at the bottom of the image, and it really made for an interesting shot as well. I don't know if you looked at it that way, but you did a really nice job on this. It's really tack sharp when it comes to the little, I don't know what they call those little spiny things,
Little
Spiny
spiny
things.
the
things.
Funny
thorns,
things, yeah.
but they're tack sharp. Did you use a macro lens on that?
No, this was just my
50?
no, it was a kit lens, the 24-120, and it was handheld. Bob and I were just walking around Duke Gardens, and I just saw some of this and just snapped it.
As Bill says, get up close.
Mm.
Yeah, that,
And he did.
Good
I
job.
think I like the vignette. You put a vignette
Mhm.
around it, right?
oh, I had to, yeah.
Yeah, it really makes it glow.
Mhm.
Good.
Mm.
Ah,
This is mine, Bob.
Duke Gardens.
Again, it's at Duke Gardens. And so I cropped it and I straightened it. If you see the boards running across, they were not straight. So I worked on straightening that, and that's about all I did.
Good job.
Thank you.
beautiful.
Mhm.
I like the way
How much-
this photograph really gives direction. If you look at the right side, going down to the woods, and then the stairway, I mean the bridge part going up and then down, and then off to the left, you see the continuation going up to the steps. This has got some nice lines to it, and the geometry is very nice. This is a nice shot.
Thank you. It's amazing what you can do when your autofocus is turned on.
Yes.
And I have a comment that relates to what Mark just said. How much of that whatever that stairway is made of, 6x6s, railroad ties, whatever, how much of that was in the frame as you shot it? Any more than you can see there?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, my point, if there's anything left of those stairs on the left that was cropped out, if you moved it just a little bit to the left, it would even enhance what Mark was saying, that you go
Okay.
down and then you can very clearly see the pathway up
Right.
to draw you into that corner.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Red things always
You
work.
wouldn't want to lose much of the bridge, but still.
Good.
Oh, nice.
That's one of mine, Helen.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
I like that.
Where is that, Helen? I thought the lines in that, although the roof is not quite plumb, and in some cases that it was geometric for certainly.
Where is it? Where's
This
it
is-
located?
Here in Farrington, near the farmer's market, looking back toward those buildings that are.
I just never noticed the chimneys, which makes it an interesting shot.
The lighting is really interesting on it. What time of day was it?
It's probably 9 o'clock in the morning. The sun was just, it was had been cloudy and it was just clearing. So there was still some smog, which is what the smoky looking clouds are.
Yeah, very good.
That shadow really makes the roof line stand out. It has a nice feel to it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the trees on the right.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, the way the trees are angled, it sort of points your eye right to the roofs. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Good job.
Nicely done. Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, that's mine.
We know who that is.
I just have fun doing stuff in the house sometimes. Actually, I put it on a table. I set it out in the courtyard, so I got a lot of sunlight on it. You can see the sunlight down in the
Yes.
lower right-hand side, reflecting off the
Oh, yeah.
stopper.
Yeah.
I originally had it totally orange background, and then I added the little blue triangles in the corners because I wanted some different geometric shapes.
Mhm.
I'm
Wow,
glad
it
you
really
did because
works.
it sort of ties in with the round blue top.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I really liked the moire in the black circle. Was that just turn up, or did you?
That actually is a top to a big coffee can, and it was in the garage, and it's really dusty.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to clean it, but when I put it in the sun, I got that pattern, so I left it.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
Really?
that
Awesome
was-
shot. That's
was
an
kind of
awesome
by-
shot.
It was kind of by accident, that pattern in the black.
How about the sun there with the starburst? Did you follow that and find that, or?
Yeah, I moved. I took probably 30 shots from different angles, and
Mhm.
that was the one that I liked the best.
Yeah, it's got everything in it. It's great.
Did you make the background orange or was it on an orange table or a mat?
That's a sheet of orange Mylar. I
Okay.
ordered a bunch of Mylar sheets from Amazon a while back to use for these kinds of things.
It's really nice.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Good job.
Excellent.
Oh,
This is mine, Chris
That's-
Ridley.
Mhm.
Actually, this is the location of the next shot, which you will see. But before we go there, that sculpture in the corner there was done by Vieta Mayer. She's an artist in the Farrington Artists Guild, and she does, and I'm going to read it here from her profile, nature-inspired found object assemblage. And Graham, do we have the close-up shot of this piece?
Oh, there we go.
There you go. It's quite extraordinary. She has categorized it as one of her best pieces. I bought it at a show a while ago, meaning 3 or 4 years ago. I don't think she has opened up her studio recently on tours. I took this from 2 hints, actually. One was Bill saying, well, why don't we have a challenge of something you found around your house? So I did look around my house and I found it. And then I made up one of my own photographic tips, which is don't get off the couch if you don't have to. Now, actually, this is hanging in the corner of the living room, and there's an air grate below it, and it hangs on a filament. So it doesn't look like it here, but I took 60 pictures, 60 shots of this in order to get this exact angle, because as it turns, it becomes many, many other things, and they're very interesting. But they weren't the one that I wanted, and so I had to take a lot of pictures to get what seems like a very, very simple shot. It's got a circle, it's got a triangle. And I figured, what the hell?
It's great.
Yep.
Good. It's a wonderful piece. It really is.
Nice.
I buy a lot of stuff at our in our tours, and I used to at the Farrington Folk Art Show too. And that ergo a lot of the sculpture that I have here. Okay, and then I have another shot there. I don't know if that. Yeah, you pulled it up, Graham. If you could go back. This is one of those obtuse shots of mine. Just found humor, if nothing else. I asked Luna to pose for this, and I like the progression of the stairs. The drapes there are left over from an assemblage of chairs, white chairs, where they in fact do at the wedding garden. They have small weddings, and so they set up about 40 chairs, and at the top there, a rabbi or reverend conducts a service with the bride and the groom, and that's what Luna represents in the photograph.
She's a good model.
Well, thank you. She's wonderful. You know, I walk in the village every single day, and I have many pictures of Luna standing in very bizarre places. But it's fun to do.
This is going to sound totally irreverent and inappropriate, but
yeah,
there's something symbolic in this if it's supposed to be a wedding venue, and that is that dog is on a leash.
I actually subsequently I noticed that myself. Funny, and I said, "Oh hell, the damn leash is still on." So I walked up. I asked Luna to stay. I have a symbol, a hand signal that I give to her, and I took this thing off, this red thing. But I went back and I took the same shots, but I never quite got the stairs and Luna in this particular pose right again. So this is the one that I submitted, as it were.
So I'm curious to know, when everybody chuckled about that being a leash, were they thinking in terms of the groom or the bride being on a leash? Because all the men laughed.
Luna's a female.
Yes.
We know what it means.
Yeah. Luna's a female, and she is hardly submissive, may I say.
And
No, I wasn't talking about the dog. I was just talking about the
Lassie was
symbolism.
female as well.
Lassie was 27 lassies. Yeah. 27 lassies, but they were in fact all males, I believe.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You could look it up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know you're right.
So there you have it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh, that's good. Oh, wow. I love it.
This has got to be AJ's.
AJ.
Oh, yeah, that's mine. Yep. Playing with the drone again.
God, fabulous.
That's up at Farrington. Actually, that's the same spot as you can see the curtains over on the left.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging down.
Oh, yes, you can. What a riot. Yeah, they stayed up for about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, they happened to be up. I was wishing that they weren't, but there was nothing I could do about it.
No, well, that's all right. It makes an interesting story. I'll loan you my photograph if you want to do an assemblage of photos.
Fabulous.
Yeah. The only thing I did is I post-processed it just a little bit so that you could see the bricks in the pathway. My original photo, it looked more like a gravel pathway. And so I had to adjust the contrast a little bit.
The bricks are just added as in the garden to give it greater formality. Before the gardens were just kind of cut out there, and it always looked a little ratty, frankly. And so this year they added the bricks to emphasize the gardens and make it more formal. Very nice choice.
Beautiful shot.
Excellent. No more comments?
Beautiful.
That's mine.
Very nice.
Whoa,
Good.
whoa.
I really like that one.
Dog crate.
Yeah.
Now, I thought a lot about Graham when I was post-processing this because I didn't know which line to make straight. Make one straight, the other ones go off kilter. So that's actually
Perfect.
a wired grate opening at the Spine Center on Fordham Boulevard.
Ah,
They have all sorts of grating across windows and stuff. So
wow,
Very nice.
thought that would be an interesting shot.
it is.
Squares,
Certainly is.
rectangles.
Very good.
So did you make it black and white or is this?
No, excuse me, let me start again. I tried it in black and white, but I liked the little bit of gray in there. That's the color that it is.
I like that. I just didn't know. Yeah.
Well, I have a technical question here. Somebody who knows about optics can tell me that you get on the left-hand side, you get the illusion of curves.
Yep.
So is that an illusion, or is that
It's an illusion.
tracing the curvature of a lens? Is there some sort of aberration?
It's
there?
I took it with an iPhone, so I don't know about the lens, but it definitely was straight. So everything was.
But does anybody else see this, or is this just me?
Oh, I see it for sure.
I think it's an optical delusion.
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 You suggesting that I'm delusional, or?
We all are. We all are. I am.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
in elements under filter,
Mhm.
Photoshop elements under filter, there is a lens distortion
Yeah.
tool.
Yep.
I'm sure it's there in Lightroom and other post-processing things. And one of the distortions is barrel distortion, where it looks like a wooden barrel that goes smaller
Right.
on the ends, and the other one is a concave. I don't know what that one's called, but
Vertical and
I'm
horizontal
not
on
sure.
mine.
I don't. But if there's any there, it certainly is not distracting to me.
No, I don't think it's distracting. I love it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was a lens thing or whether it was an optical illusion.
Put this one on the hits list, Wesley.
Oh, wow.
Great
Thanks.
Definitely.
Well, I have one more that's the other one.
Ooh,
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
yeah,
so
my kind of
that's
shot.
really good.
Oh, thank you. I
wow.
fiddled around with whether or not to have the that white triangle up at the top, the white spot. Do you see it?
Mhm,
Yeah.
Where the two,
mhm.
the horizontal and the vertical converge, and I took it out, and it didn't look as well because then it would take out the other two lines up in the upper left-hand corner. But it was another one where I had to figure out which one to make straight for Graham. I didn't want him yelling at me about my horizon, although I guess there really is a horizon in this.
Well, Leslie, I would have done something to, however you manipulated it. But I would do something. I thought you were talking about the upper left-hand corner of the photo, where there's a little sliver of white and then
Yes,
a dark
right.
vertical.
I'm just
I would have
noticing that
done
now.
something
Yep,
to get rid of that little
Yeah.
sliver of white.
absolutely. I agree with you. I just noticed it. I think I was concentrating on the part of the picture and didn't look up there.
But this is another hits list. I like
Yeah.
it. Wish I'd
Good.
taken it.
Good contrasting to the darks and the lights and
Yeah, I just, it was one of those things where I just looked up and there was just all of this, fretwork sort of stuff. And I just took a whole bunch of pictures, and those were the two that I liked the best.
Yeah.
Also, like the longer you look at it, the more you see these different
Shapes.
shapes and square, that you wouldn't,
Yeah.
that first you won't see.
And while you're looking at it, do you find out your head starts tilting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I tried it and, I turned it sideways, upside down, but this was straight on. And this was actually, I think, a cutout of the great work is down at the bottom, ground level, but then there's great work way up on top of the building too. And that's where this was from. So it was interesting.
A really great shot.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
Good job.
Whoa, that's neat.
Okay, that's me. That's back at the inn. Actually, if you're looking at AJ's image from above, you saw the steps going up to the patio and this little bugger was there. And this was the image on the tripod when I forgot to shut off my vibration reduction. So there's actually a bit of softness to it that occurred because it would have been a lot sharper, but I kind of liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it was repeating,
Mhm.
the leaves were repeating, the veins in them could create the triangles. And I don't know what shape the leaf might be. Maybe it's a leaf shape, but yeah, I was walking a dog one night and I passed this and it just struck me.
Mhm.
So the next day I went back.
It's beautiful.
I think the softness goes very well with the color of it.
Good point.
Yeah.
And contrast with the points, the sharp
Right.
points.
Exactly. It's beautiful.
Cool.
Good picture.
Nice shot, Bill.
And just a little cropping and not much more than that.
Good. Good job.
Nice.
That's mine. I was in Baltimore recently and was walking the dog and happened to view this pond. This is with my cell phone, not my camera. I was attracted to it because it was all green, had some nice swirls, nice silhouette of the bridge. This was fairly early in the morning, I think, maybe around 8 o'clock or something like that, and pretty well untouched. Water was kind of yucky, but I thought the swirls and the reflections, might qualify this for the geometric challenge.
Very nice.
It's great. What I really like about it is how bold the triangles are on top and how soft they are in the reflection.
Do you try in black and white?
I did not. If it were black and white, then the green wouldn't show it, because what drew me to it was how funky green it was, very mossy. But you know what? I'll put that on a black and white filter and see what it does.
Yeah, just
It may
about
take
doing
some of the
that?
reflection of the water out.
How about doing something with that sort of overly white one in the
Left.
yeah.
Yeah, that should have been cropped. I actually was cropping it so that the two posts were equidistant from each other on the
Yeah.
top right and left. And yeah, I should have plopped that out here. And then that
Or
little,
recolor it maybe.
yeah, I could recolor it. Yeah, that would work. But I'll see what that looked like black and white. I don't think you'll see the reflections, but it was an interesting shot. There you go.
there you go.
Oh, there you
Oh, it's
go.
neat, black and white.
Did Graham do that?
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
Graham the master.
Yeah.
Pop that up again, Graham.
Yeah.
You're the maestro.
I think you actually.
Very interesting.
I just press a key.
I think you see the patterns in the water better when it's black and white.
Yeah, yeah.
It actually does, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's remarkable how
And
the
then you don't have
swirls
to
lead
cover that
into the
white one
back.
on the left-hand side.
Good. All right.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
So I have two from Beth. She struggled a little with an upgrade on the computer. So we have one that's processed and one that's not. It's up to you to work out which is which.
I think that's terrific.
Mhm.
Amazingly well seen.
Yes.
That's
That's
the
a great
media-
shot.
Like that.
I love the texture and the stones.
Mhm.
Mhm. Where was
It's real,
that?
real moody, atmospheric, moody, like a
Yeah.
film shot, like a film
Did
shot.
you,
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Where
Before
was
my
that
time.
taken, please?
Way the gray blocks lead off into the distance.
Mhm.
It's really a good shot.
Where?
Did you say that with Beth's, Graham?
I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
That's Beth's?
Yes.
So that's somewhere in Colorado. Well, maybe not.
Well, I
Might be
don't
in,
know.
actually, it might be in Durham. I think she's in Durham this weekend.
Is she back from Colorado?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Graham, what would that look in black and white?
It would look black and white, Mark.
Oh.
That's
you
not
go.
as, that's not
No.
as dramatic.
Don't like it.
It's
Not
not
as
as
well.
stunning. Not
No,
as
that-
stunning.
Yeah,
Color adds something in this one, I think, doesn't it?
just the colors glow.
Yeah. It's really nice.
What's your next one?
I think that might be it. Oh, no, here we go.
That is mine.
Nice.
I really like it.
That's the kiosk. Yay.
That is the back of Galloway Ridge looking over the physical therapy. And I lined up the like dormer window business over the roof line to get
Mhm.
the points to match.
Great. Good symmetry.
Yeah,
That's
really
very
great.
nice.
Terrific.
I didn't know how to crop that
Nice,
one.
Ellen.
I cropped less roof and more roof, and I finally left it that way and hoped for the best.
I think you took the picture at a time when the sky is just great behind it. You know, all the grays and stuff, and then that little bit of blue down on the bottom. I think it's really interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was hoping that the lightning didn't strike the lightning rod.
Oh, that would have been dramatic.
Yeah. I wouldn't be here, but
You would have gotten a picture.
Especially put the camera on burst mode or something like that.
but anyway, we've got triangles there and lines. So
Mhm.
I thought that was certainly
And
geometric and
rectangles.
certainly dramatic.
Rectangles, yeah.
Really nice photo.
Very nice.
Well done. Oh,
Whoa.
Hmm.
Wow.
Wow. That's cool.
That's my photograph.
Oh, wow.
Where is it?
Where
Great,
is
Tom.
that?
So this is a pretty famous building in Buffalo, my
Ah.
hometown, which has a tremendous amount of beautiful architecture. And this is a First Presbyterian Church. And that tower, this is the back of the church, which nobody ever looks at. And that tower, this building is supposed to represent romantic medievalism. that tower is based on a 12th century French structure. Anyway, I really love the building. I've always loved it since I was a child, and got around the back. I spent a lot of time in this neighborhood. So, and then I was for this thing, I was processing it, and I hit a blend mode that really made all those contrasty things happen in that very strange looking sky. And my brother said it reminded him of the Darling house in Walt Disney's Peter Pan.
Yeah,
Huh.
Anyway,
It's a great picture.
yeah, it's great.
Excellent.
Very
I
nice.
thought Mike Stano might be interested in it since he's done architecture.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, very much. Like to see it in person.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful building. I think 1891,
Wow.
and the tower is 1896.
Nice.
Nicely done.
Yeah, whatever the filter
Wanna
was.
be a
it made
roofer.
the roof glow. What's this?
That's mine. That is an acorn cap.
Oh,
Oh,
And yeah, if you saw me the other day walking around picking up acorns from the willow oaks, then and thought I was crazy. This is what I was doing. Um,
you
but
and the
I
squirrels, huh?
Come pick up mine.
I shot this on a piece of white paper and then masked it. And this looks like, it's hard to tell over here. Yeah, I think this is the 5D version because
Yep.
I shot it with a macro lens
Yep.
and the depth of field was a little bit not as great as I would have liked. So I really will probably repeat this and try my hand at focus stacking. But then I don't know, Graham, if you're going to show it, but
Yep.
I
You're on the next There you go.
then took one.
Ooh,
This is with the iPhone 13, and the iPhones say that they have a macro mode now using the wide angle lens, and I remembered that, so I said I thought I'd just reshoot it and redo it with the iPhone. And so I like the depth of field better, but it's not so clear over the internet, but there's a bit loss of detail in the fine structure compared to the Canon 5D full frame sensor. But it came out I thought it came out well.
Yeah.
definitely.
And what I was looking for is something.
I'm trying to.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was trying to find some. I was actually picking up pine cones too, hoping to figure out a way of getting a Fibonacci series in nature photo, but couldn't find the right pine cones, and so I kind of saw these laying. They're all over around the park right now, so I started collecting a handful of acorns and acorn caps and settled on this one for the photo.
Do you use a copy stand or your tripod? How do you?
Yeah, I use a tripod. And so and the willow acorn caps are very small. I think they're smaller than a dime in diameter. Yeah, so I used a tripod for both the shots, both using the iPhone and the Canon 5D.
Graham, can you show the one before so we can see the contrast? I'm just curious. So this is with the camera and the other
Yeah,
one's-
this is with the Canon 5D, and there's a lot more fine detail and structure in the cap.
oh yeah.
Wow.
I started to say a minute ago, and I was trying to find it again, but just this morning, there was a thing that popped up, I think on Macworld or someplace. I can't remember where it was and can't find it. That this macro feature on the newer iPhones, like the 13, for example, can be duplicated on older phones, but it takes a subscription. But the subscription to whatever that software company is $1 a month. So it was a little bit cumbersome according to the review, but it gets you pretty much to the same place as the newer iPhones and this macro choice on the new lens.
So
Mike,
Mike,
and,
13? Oh.
This is built into your camera, so you're not familiar with the program I'm talking about, are you?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Keep trying to find it, but
So Mike, if you do eventually try to do some focus stacking on this, I'd really like to see the results.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share it with you. It's yeah, I really it's a 100mm Canon macro lens for the one on the left, and yeah, I just have to search on YouTube and find a video on focus stacking using Affinity. So.
Cool.
So is the iPhone 13 for sale now? Is that what you have now?
Yeah, I upgraded from an iPhone 11 to the 13 Pro.
I didn't even realize it was that they had already officially announced and people were buying.
Yeah, it
Do you like
happened in
it?
September. Yeah, I do. I mean, and I'm really sorry I missed the last meeting for the landscape because I carried around my Canon 5D and a tripod for 6,000 miles on a trip to Montana and took a bunch of landscape photos, but the ones that came out I thought the best were the 2 landscape photos that were shot with the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, you know, depending on what your expectation is and what you're trying to do, the iPhones, I think, take just really neat photos, really good quality.
I agree.
I just found the app. It's by a company called Halide, Halide.
Oh, Halide, yeah.
And it's not just a macro mode, but, and this is reading from Macworld, it's for all iPhones coupled with an upscaler, which means that it's gonna add some clarity in addition to giving you the macro mode to old iPhone 8 and later. And like I said, it's $1 a month.
What's the name of the company again, Mike?
Halide, Halid. It's in the App Store.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's I
Interesting
think
to me.
it's a well-regarded app. I've looked at it before and thought about buying it, but haven't yet. I think one of the things that it'll do is it has time-lapse features, and also if it's the one I'm thinking of, they had a photo of like the Brooklyn Bridge where the app was used to eliminate all the traffic on the bridge, and so it's just the bridge. Which is probably hard to get a shot of no traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge.
So for those of you who are interested in macro, you've heard me talk about a guy called Don Comareccia before. He's a Canadian. I have his macro book, which is spectacular. And I think I've recommended it before. It's not cheap. But he's now, his wife is, I want to say Romanian. I might be wrong, somewhere in that region. And they're moving. So this is the last chance to get that book. If anybody's interested, his book on macro is spectacular. The best I've seen by a couple of orders of magnitude.
Could you spell it, Graham?
Can I? It's in the group on Facebook. His last, I can never get his name. Oh, hang on, I've probably got him in my phone. Hang on. Let's see.
Or just say it again. And we can...
It's Komarechka, Don, as in Donald, Komarecka.
You're almost right.
And his website is doncom, donkom.ca. He's Canadian. But his book is just about done. He's literally moving. And so he sells only, it's not clear to me why he doesn't go through Amazon, but he doesn't.
Yeah, because he's done some things with B&H as well. And
Yes, he
some
has
videos
selling the book.
they did videos on how to actually do the macro
Yep.
in your house and things like that. A lot of how-tos.
Yeah, he highly recommended. He's a young guy, good,
Yep.
excellent work. Photographs, no,
So the website again is,
donkom.ca.
How much is the book?
I beg your pardon?
You said the book was not cheap. How much is it?
I think it's like $60, $70. It's that might be Canadian though, in which case it's a little cheaper, but it's not
$10.
cheap, but it's this much, and it will, it's this thick. It's a big book. It's a value for money book. So if anybody's interested, now's the time. Okay, that was it. Good selection of photos, folks. Anybody got any closing comments, questions?
Well, the next one for 2 weeks is going to be back on landscapes again, but based on the fall. So hopefully we get some color in some of the
Dang, I was
images.
planning on black and white.
Yeah, change it to black and white.
Good
Okay,
meeting you all. Thank you.
thanks, guys. And,
Thank you very much.
good to see you all.
unusually
well.
good quality photos this time.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
really good. Really good.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you all.
Sounds good.